10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello.
Hello.
The higher, the fewer.
What?
Okay.
I thought that would break our usual, problem of saying hello to each other.
Oh, it
over and
did.
over.
27
Now I'm just
times.
confused.
Yes.
You need to watch more Star Trek in that case.
The
That's
higher,
usually
the
the
fewer.
answer.
Yep. The ultimate conversation stopper, apparently. Not really what the
I
show
see.
needs.
It
but-
No.
worked, though.
Yeah, it did work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. Hello. Welcome to the show. And in the week that new pictures of Pluto have been sent back by the New Horizons probe, and because of gerrymandering, a college student in Colombia is technically the only voter in an upcoming election.
And in the week where Taco Bell released a taco with a fried chicken shell,
Want.
and scientists agreed to write a letter to aliens, but haven't decided whether they want to send it to space.
It was like the ultimate letter you've written, never meaning to send.
Yeah.
And in a week where Mario turned 30, that's depressing. And also a week where Apple have finally entered the stationery market by inventing a shiny $99 pencil.
That's one heck of a pencil.
It is. Well, this is the Geekly Chronicles.
It is indeed.
Wow. Okay. So, hello.
Hello.
Stop it.
Okay.
We're going to do
fine.
it again. We're going to fall into that trap.
Well, I like all the hellos.
hellos are
hello,
fun.
hello.
Yes.
It's kind of very, very British, I suppose.
Indeed.
So we had a very food-related show 2 weeks ago, and we've just about recovered. I've been in for extensive heart bypass surgery in the meantime. But yeah, it's all right. We've just about recovered from that. And actually, we are going to talk a little bit about bad food this week because I've had some exceptionally bad food in the past week. It was awful, and I want to moan about it.
Always good. We've also got, this week has been a big week for all sorts of news happening.
News, you say?
Yes, things have been happening in the world.
More world shaking than not sending a letter into space to aliens.
Apparently.
Well, that's not even news. That's more just, we thought about it. We actually sat down and we wrote it. We were a bit drunk, but
But
Maybe
we
it was
shouldn't.
for the aliens that already live on Earth.
Maybe.
Controversial.
Yes. Well, in certainly UK shattering news, the Labour leadership vote has finally closed.
Well, and we thought we'd be different to all other media outlets by not bitching about Jeremy Corbyn.
Yes, we did.
So we might just be quite nice about it all.
We're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna give you the facts, and then we're not gonna hate on Corbyn.
It's a revolutionary idea.
It is. Yes, we are breaking new ground here on the show tonight. We've got all our usuals as well. We've got the bad song. We've got the tumble fumble.
And the bad songs this week are. I'm not gonna count my chickens before they're hatched, but I think I'm on to another winner this week.
Vote for me. Anyway, and we've also got some features which you hastily wrote down before we started the show.
Yeah, it's back of a pop it unpack it kind of idea, but
Yes.
I've been spending a lot of time the past week working on quite a lot of old technology, and let's talk a bit about that, because actually some stuff was so unpopular when it launched and when it came out, and actually now it's cool again. Which I know sounds a bit hipster, but this is stuff that's even too cool for hipsters to have.
Right.
This is like a mustache with handlebars so large you can see them from space.
I think hipsters would be on board with that.
Damn it. Okay. Think of something else. What wouldn't hipsters like?
Stuff that's too mainstream. Stuff that other people like.
Oh, well, I like it, therefore
hipsters can't.
Yeah. Because I'm mainstream.
Yeah.
If you say
I'm so mainstream that hipsters drown in me.
Right.
Okay. I don't even know what that means.
Should we?
Okay.
Should we? Well, because that's how you drown a hipster. It's
A
the only
hipster.
a hipster.
Is that-
The only
Is that
body
like
of
a
water that a
hamster?
hipster or a hipster can drown in is the mainstream.
Yeah, well,
Ah.
it's true.
You see?
It's true.
Okay, and
How did the hipster burn his tongue? He drank his coffee before it was cool.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm
Anyone else
sorry.
knows any hipster jokes? Please do send them in.
Yes,
Yes.
please. Well,
Yes, moving swiftly on
so
for the benefit of our listeners.
how often do you have fast food? Just out of interest.
Not a lot.
How often do you
Really?
have fast food?
Oh, so are we talking kind of our McDonald's genre food?
Well, okay,
I
fast
would
food or
say so.
takeaway.
Oh,
Because there is a difference between the two, and I'll get onto
Yeah.
that in a minute. But how often do you order food from a place that is not cooked by yourself?
Well, if you mean takeaway, then about like 10 minutes ago. But
Yeah, how often? Not when was the last time?
every
yeah,
2
it's probably
weeks.
at least once a week, probably.
At least once a week. And what about? So, I mean, that a lot of that is probably takeaway. How about things like McDonald's, fast food, that kind of
Well, I
thing?
suppose I'd have takeaway usually when I'm here, so I pretty much stopped having takeaway at home. Otherwise, I'd just constantly be eating takeaway.
So no takeaway unless you happen to be in the studio, in which case you're the one that drops all the pilau rice all over the floor.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Well, it is fun to hoover up rice
tramples
once
it.
it's dried. And
Yeah.
it makes that lovely rattling noise.
It would be lovely if you ever hoovered the studio. That would be really fine. But since you don't,
Well, you know, I clear up after you when you come to mine sometimes. And, you know, you can clear up after me. If you didn't like it, you wouldn't invite us over.
when I visit your house, I do the cleaning up.
I don't make you, though. You could just go home like a normal person.
True, true. Curse my cleaning and cleanliness. The reason I'm asking is that I don't have. I mean, I have takeaway every now and then, which I tend to class slightly differently because I think it's probably being prepared reasonably fresh by someone who probably knows what they're doing. But
You'd hope.
well, yeah, you'd hope. But
Or
I
at least,
had a-
microwaved by a safe pair of hands.
yeah, but I had I stopped by McDonald's this week, and I tweeted about this as well. But I stopped by McDonald's because I'd had to go in. I had an eye test. One of my eyes failed. It has to take a resit. But I went in for an eye test and thought, I'll just grab some lunch while I'm out, and went into McDonald's and I ordered it was called an Indian chicken for some bizarre reason.
Okay.
Are they shipping them in special?
No, as far as I could tell, it was meant to be a standard chicken breast fillet in breadcrumbs with like Indian spices and yogurt and mint and stuff on it. So anyway, I ordered this thing and I got back to my seat and opened up the box with the burger in it. There was lettuce everywhere. It was like a salad had exploded inside the box, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I thought, quite healthy, but there was a burger somewhere buried in this mess of exploded salad. So, I was kind of 1 out of 10 for presentation at that point in time anyway. And then I took a bite of this burger after attempting to kind of get it out of this pile of salad and kind of reconstruct it into its bun and things like that. I took a bite and bit into the coldest, most half-frozen slab of processed chicken breast.
I'm
Oh,
doing
dear.
major cringe face.
Yeah. And so my my most recent and quite rare experience with McDonald's this week was an almost frozen chicken burger. And I was just really curious as to whether you or any of our listeners had experienced like really kind of bad takeaway hell like that before. I mean, you see in the news every now and then people talking about, I got a microwave rat at McDonald's or whatever, but have any of you?
Well, I've never had a bad McDonald's or fast food experience like that. But when I was at primary school, my school dinners were, for at least the first half of the time I was there, were provided by a company whose name I won't mention. And one lunchtime, they served us chicken and chips, and the chicken was much like yours, half frozen.
Oh,
So
Yeah, I mean, that isn't just an unpleasant experience. I'm actually worried
It's a dangerous experience.
could, be dangerous to my health.
So so it was slightly dangerous to my health, and I have been quite unwell since then in terms of the kind of food related illnesses you get, and I don't really want to describe in graphic detail on the air. But it was really the first horrible experience I'd had at a place like that, other than the generally really rude staff.
I mean, the worst thing that I've had from McDonald's really is I quite often order the fillet fish.
Right.
So, and quite often they don't have them. They don't make those as regularly as they make the other burgers. So sometimes you get one that's just really super dried out because it's been sitting around for hours. But that's about as bad as it gets,
That's
really,
quite
for
gross.
me. It is kind of gross, yeah, and really disappointing because when you get a fresh one, it's awesome.
I'll have to try that. I'll have to
But a dry one is just like
work out their
a
filet-o-fish
box
schedule
full
and see
of
if we can.
disappointment.
Yeah, it'd be quite nice to work out when they do the fresh ones.
Experiments in fish scheduling.
I think it
will
just
have
depends,
to,
when the last person went in and.
But there's one takeaway that has never failed to disappoint me, never failed to amaze me. Rather, has never disappointed me, and that's KFC. I don't have it often, but there's something about a fast food restaurant that serves gravy that makes me feel pretty epic.
I suppose I've never felt like KFC has dished me up something that it wasn't the way that it was supposed to be. But I suppose it's probably not one of my favourites, just because I'm not always in the mood for chicken.
How do you feel about the gravy?
But I mean, the gravy is bordering on religious experience.
I was just about to use that phrase as well. It's, I'm salivating thinking about it. And they probably put crack in there. Like, Coca-Cola originally had cocaine in it. I think that this is something very similar. The KFC gravy has some kind of Class A substance that gets us all
Or
quite
it's at least
addicted.
whatever it is they put in Pringles.
Yes,
That's a fair
because
point.
indeed once you pop, you can't stop. I wonder what would happen if you dipped Pringles in KFC gravy.
I
don't think you would ever stop eating.
I don't ever stop eating.
But I
You
think
make a
someone would
reasonable
come
point,
back
but-
2 days later and just find you
Still in the
Rocking
KFC.
backwards and
Like,
forwards in a corner,
Crying.
going, gravy, gravy.
with your tube of Pringles and your vat
crying
of
with
gravy.
your Pringles and your gravy and gravy
Yes.
tears running down your face going, I just don't want to eat this anymore.
If I won the
But I can't
lottery, I
stop.
would get a hot tub full of KFC gravy and an infinite supply of Pringles.
Please don't. Please never ever buy a lottery ticket.
But do you not think that I would smell lovely bathing in KFC gravy?
I don't
I
know.
don't.
I
I kind of
this
don't
this
want to.
notion just frightens me.
Okay, so scaring my
Like-
co-presenters here this evening. We've had a little bit of comment in the chat room about that. So as a reminder, you can chat along with us during the show. If you head to gkly.co and click the chat button, you can get into the chat room there on the website. It is an IRC channel, so you can connect using your favorite IRC client. Connect to Freenode, and we are GKLY, the channel GKLY. And Jake in the chat room has said popcorn chicken plus. Popcorn chicken is my go-to. Popcorn chicken meal is my go-to. So someone there, a lot of love for the popcorn chicken. I have to say the popcorn chicken is quite tasty. You're not a fan?
It doesn't really blip on my radar, but yeah, I suppose I'm a bit peculiar.
This our listeners are well aware of.
This is not news to any of us.
Indeed. So yeah, I have to agree that popcorn chicken's pretty nice. So listeners, please let us know in the chat room. You can tweet us at GKLYCO. You can email us studio@gkly.co or studio@geeklychronicles.com if you really feel like writing the full thing out. You could also phone us or text us.
Is this the part where I read out the numbers?
Well, I was thinking people are bored of my voice.
People are probably bored of me reading out the numbers, but the numbers you're going to need if you're in the UK are 0203 389 6245.
That's number one.
Indeed. Or in the US, 415 287 9705. Call them, text them, just don't
Put them in a stew.
put them in a stew.
Yeah.
That'd be a bad idea.
You can't really do that with numbers.
The numbers are also on the website. If my co-presenter's interjection with the number wang was just too exciting for you and you've forgotten what all the numbers were.
Yeah, absolutely. So please let us know if you've had a good or bad or indifferent takeaway experience. If you think a hot tub full of KFC gravy is the future,
Is in any way a good idea?
then please, we'd like to hear from you, because I think it's a blooming amazing idea.
Right.
But speaking of bad takeaway experiences, we've also got this week's Bad Song of the Week. It's our regular feature.
Indeed. I was wondering how you were going to crowbar that in.
Yeah, it was less crowbar and more smashed in with the large brick.
Yes.
In that
A
instance,
bit like when you're doing a jigsaw and the last piece you have is from a different jigsaw.
yeah, you just
So
kind
you
of
just
whack
kind of make it
in.
fit. I'm like, I don't care that this is sky and the rest of it was ground. Anyway, we've got Bad Song of the Week. So
Yes.
shall we
What
do
is
that?
yours?
Mine is it was a number one hit in 1999. So you're probably going to love it.
I do. I do love this song. I remember dancing to this song at school discos. It's a brilliant song. I don't
that's just
understand how you
unsettling.
could even consider this being a bad song.
I will explain.
Go on.
The song I've chosen is Venga Boys with We're Going to Ibiza. And yes, they do pronounce it like that.
That's because they're not English. They pronounce it in the way that it's pronounced natively in their country.
It's not, well, it's just not. It's not.
That's
it's
how the
not
Dutch
good.
pronounce Ibiza. We say Ibiza, they say Ibiza.
It's not good. Anyway.
Was that the entirety of
wasn't
the
the
Dutch
entire-
language? Are you just smearing the Dutch now? On a pancake.
I don't know if that sounds delicious or terrifying.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an awful song. It's got badly written lyrics. It doesn't rhyme. It's got an entirely forgettable and
Well, I suppose
boring tune.
the
So,
lyrics
you know.
actually come from a different song from an earlier time.
So, I mean, if you've... they do it. It was kind of a remixed song as well. So it was... yeah, I don't know if you've done
Adds
your
to the
research and
crime.
known that.
Originally, they were going to Barbados.
Yeah, so
I
something
believe.
like that, yeah. So it was like a re-release of another song, kind of back in the 60s or whenever it came out. Barbados was the banging holiday destination, and in the 90s, Ibiza was the banging holiday destination.
Well, that surely makes it worse because they've essentially taken the song, changed the word Barbados to Ibiza, and re-released it. Jiggery pokery some of the rest of the lyrics. They're not even trying anymore.
Well, let's listen to a clip of your song then.
We're going to Ibiza. Back to the island.
The rest of the lyrics there are, we're going to have a party in the Mediterranean Sea.
You should be ashamed that you know that, you know.
I can sing along to the entire song. I even know the dance.
Of course you do. Well, at least Misty M in the chat room says, oh no, not this song. So finally someone sees my point.
But is it the
Yeah.
worst of the two bad songs of the week? And I think not. So my bad song of the week this week is truly awful. I have been scouring the internet for terribleness, and it turns out a lot of people release really bad songs.
That's
Who
why
knew?
we keep doing this
Yeah.
feature.
It's great. We could do this feature, ad nauseum forever and ever.
And we probably will.
Yes. Yep.
We'll keep doing this program ad nauseum, and believe me, I'm certainly feeling a certain
Well,
amount
I'm
of
starting to
nauseum.
wonder if season 2 will ever end, if we'll ever get to a season 3, if
That's
we're
very
ever
true.
going to take a season break. But,
Season 1 had 10 episodes.
So I'm thinking we
This is
should
the
have
9th.
every episode. Yeah, okay, maybe.
So,
Who knows?
maybe.
Anyway, back to the bad song.
Back to that.
So
Let's do the thing we're actually supposed to be doing for the
I
first time ever on this show.
I saw on the television not too long ago a documentary about people that have a rather excessive amount of plastic surgery. Not because they need it or because they want to feel more comfortable within themselves, but because they want to look more like certain celebrities, which is an interesting thing. And fair play to these people if they want to look how they want to look. However, a trio of them got together to create a band and a song to promote the idea of going to your doc, as they put it in the song, and changing yourself to look like your most favourite celebrity.
It's at this point that I think I should probably concede defeat now, but we'll see how the vote goes.
So the song is called We Are the Plastics, and it is by The Plastics. You see what they
Creative,
did there?
yeah.
It starts out quite promising.
Are you one of the boring people?
Who don't want to be beautiful?
Because everyone can be beautiful.
When you're made of plastic.
So, we're off to a good start.
Yes. I am truly one of the boring people, apparently.
But the chorus does pick up a bit.
We are the plastics, living a life that's now elastic. We are fantastic. If you wanna be us, let our dogs work their magic.
That last line was, "If you want to be us, let our docs work their magic."
Wow.
You had a slightly cringy face on there, Catherine. So that is the choice of bad song for this week. You can vote for those songs by going to gkly.co/bad.
Yes, JKH in the chat room says in
That
3 separate messages.
Was awful.
That was awful, yes.
So your votes this week are between the Venga Boys, and we're going to Ibiza.
We're going to,
Eat pizza, as I used to sing at school.
we're going to Ibiza. Back to the island.
You weren't kidding when you said you knew the dance, were you?
Or between, so it's between that song and We Are the Plastics by the Plastics.
We are the plastics, living a life that's now elastic. We are fantastic. If you wanna be us, let our dogs work their magic.
Sometimes I envy the fact that our listeners can't see the dances you do.
Yes, I think so. So that's basically auto-tune for the soul, essentially, that song.
It sounds to me like they're singing,
It's
if you want
auto-tune
to
for the face.
if you
Yes.
want to be a slob, dogs work their magic.
Not quite.
That's just what I'm hearing.
If you want to be us, let our docs work their magic.
I guess it's the us-let that's throwing
That
me.
sounds like, yeah. Okay. Also, hello to Amy, who has arrived fashionably late to the party.
Hello, Amy. Thank you for tuning in. We've had some more requests come through, which is nice. Someone has requested one of my favourite songs, so we'll play that shortly. But yes, other than voting for our bad songs, has anyone voted yet? Oh, I wonder.
A couple of people have voted, one each.
We're
present.
currently tied.
So we are currently
How
tied.
can anyone think the Venga Boys song is worse than the song by the Plastics?
At this point, I really don't know.
What's your impartial
having heard
view,
the,
Catherine?
I think we live in a very strange world.
Yes.
We certainly do. As is evidenced by the fact that this show exists and continues to get listeners.
Indeed.
And
And presenters.
presenters,
For
yeah.
that matter.
True.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of politics news going around at the moment.
Yes. We, like many of our listeners, we live in a country. And that country, again, like many in the world, has a government. And our government at the moment is comprised of not the Labour Party. And for that reason...
That's not their actual name, but...
no. So the Labour Party aren't in power. And at the last election, their leader, Ed Miliband, resigned. So there's been an election to pick a new leader.
Yes, an election to
that's
pick a new leader of this
of the
party
Labour
that's
Party,
not in power,
that isn't in
not an
power,
election to
yes.
elect someone to power.
Yes.
But there's been a lot of
leader of the
politics.
opposition,
A
if
leader
you
of the
will.
opposition,
Yes.
if you will. The quietest bat person we can possibly find. But there's been a lot of politics news all around the place at the moment. There's a lot of political commentary coming out of Australia at the moment. Certainly, as their Prime Minister seems to enjoy eating raw onions and generally saying silly things on Twitter.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Always a good
politics
move.
news coming out of the US with
Yes. Because Donald Trump continues
yes.
to insist on
breathing.
breathing
Yeah.
and
So
existing.
So yeah, it's definitely an interesting time for politics. But here in the
Yes.
UK, we are facing this odd kind of idea of an election to pick a leader of a party that's not in power. But
Yes.
it is the
Democracy.
main opposition party currently. The way that party politics works, of course, parties get numbers of seats based on constituencies won through votes. So the Labour Party is the main opposition party. So they are essentially electing a leader of the opposition.
Yes.
And that election, well, the voting has now been done and the results come out
Closed.
tomorrow.
Closed midday today, and we will know by 11:30 a.m. tomorrow.
But we had a lot of
Apparently.
very similar candidates
Yes.
with very similar policies. And then one complete outsider that, by their own admission, became part of the leadership race because people wanted to broaden the debate
Yes.
rather than actually wanting this person to win, which seemed a bit silly.
Let's mention him by name. Jeremy Corbyn is the fellow that's not like the rest.
One
in
of
terms
these things is not like the other.
Indeed. His policies seem to be slightly... People generally think his policies are more left-wing than any of the other candidates' policies and that sort of thing, and he's not quite, what everyone thinks the Labour Party is. He doesn't quite fit that image. But there are plenty of people that say that's a good thing. He might be some new, fresh ideas for the Labour Party.
So it's interesting, right? So when I was younger and my parents kind of came from a very socialist sort of background, they were very much, very socialist. And there was a big difference between socialist parties like Labour and more conservative parties like the Conservative Party.
Creatively named.
And so, I think everyone kind of feels like politics has all become a bit centrist these days, and a lot of the parties are very similar. So I can completely see what people mean when they say, oh, this person is talking differently to all these other people. It's a breath of fresh air. It is really interesting. I think the thing that interests me the most about this particular debate is that a lot of people are saying, so this person has, he's got the required number of people supporting them to be able to stand in this election. And now people like him and they think he might win, and that could be a disaster. Quick, everyone, tell people not to vote for him.
Yes.
Like, well, actually, if people fairly vote this person in as the leader of their party, then that's
how it works.
That's democracy.
Yes. And
surely that's how it's meant to work.
Yes. And in terms of the people that may or may not be voting him in, it appears to be working. So YouGov did a poll about a month ago.
And we all know how accurate these polls are.
Yes, after
And
our
that was a whole month ago.
fun election surprise. But I've also got it in a newspaper here, which I will rustle to prove that
We
it
actually
exists.
do have a physical newspaper.
I know.
What is this madness?
I haven't seen one of those in years.
Yes. This is, the internet.
Yeah.
This is like 1
How often does it
billionth
refresh?
of that.
How often
that
does it
refreshes
refresh?
every day except the weekend.
Okay, and do I have to buy a new piece of hardware every time the content gets updated?
Yeah.
That
pretty
seems
much.
a bit wasteful.
But
Actually,
it's got-
you don't have to buy it. You just have to go someplace where they're handing them out.
Well,
this
that's true.
this is
a Metro,
free
so
hardware.
this is it's
Yep.
like it's free hardware.
Okay.
It's got a fairly intuitive interface. Just grab it, open it, all touch based. But it says inside that the headline is Corbyn on a roll, but 1 in 5 couldn't vote. This is from today's Metro, and it says that the polls suggest that Corbyn is going to win the Labour leadership. But, interestingly, there have been calls for an inquiry into the voting process because it's been reported that 20% of people in London, that's 1 in 5 as the headline says, they were eligible to vote but didn't receive a ballot paper.
Oh.
Which is odd. And I've seen several things like that on Twitter as well today. There are a few people so to join the Labour Party and become eligible to vote, you have to sign up, declare you have no allegiance to any other party, and pay a £3 fee.
It's only £3 if you sign up as a supporter. If you actually want to join, it's more.
Yeah, it's
But
like
you are
£15,
eligible to
but-
vote if you're just a supporter.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there were people tweeting earlier that they had signed up and they paid their £3 fee so that they were eligible to vote. And then when it came time to get their ballot paper, they got an email saying, we're not going to give you a ballot paper because you haven't paid the fee. But that email arrived like 20 minutes before the vote closed earlier today.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
So they had no time to pay the fee and get the ballot paper because it comes through in the post.
So, it sounds like whoever is the next leader of the Labour Party has a serious administration problem to solve first. But it's interesting. I keep saying it's interesting. I really should
suppose
think
that
of something else to
system
say.
was all brand new for this time through, and it just
Yeah,
sounds like it wasn't well administered.
Well, and they did have other ways of being able to vote as well. You could vote by text message and things like that as well if you were registered to do so. And I think a lot of people registered a lot more people than expected registered for a physical ballot paper, and I think that was one of the issues.
Yes.
But one of the candidates, Liz Kendall, has said, if Jeremy Corbyn wins, it would be a huge mistake not to accept that result as legitimate, which I think is the right statement to make, because so many other people in the party
it
have
does seem
said
bizarre that statement needs to be made.
well, exactly, and it's because so many other people in the party have said, "Oh, well, if Jeremy Corbyn wins, we're not going to take it seriously." It's like, well, leave the party then. It's if that's what the party members vote for. Every party member has the same right as every other party member.
Yes. One member, one vote, or one person, one vote.
Isn't that kind
policy.
That's kind of the idea
kind
of the
point.
system?
Yes.
Yeah?
How
That's
it
how
works.
politics here is meant to work.
Well, yes, it's how it's meant to work. But yes, there are plenty of people saying that they're not going to accept the result. But fortunately, there are a few people like Liz Kendall. She said she was grateful to Corbyn for energising the Labour Party and inspiring this kind of debate and discussion, which is always.
And too right. I think
good.
I think it. Whatever your opinion, I think there's no denying the fact that Jeremy Corbyn being a part of this race has really electrified politics, and it's made people care and people interested because it was a very different rhetoric.
A lot of people have decided that the ideals that they have fit with Labour's ideals and joined the party so that they could vote in this election, but so that they can then become part of a political movement they agree with. Which is always good.
Well, yeah, and even if that's not the case, and whatever party you support, I think you can't ever say that it's a bad thing that anything that has happened has got people more interested in politics.
Absolutely.
'Cause I think the worst thing for politics is apathy. It's nice to have people caring.
Yep.
You look very apathetic.
Do I?
You're just like, can we talk about something more interesting?
Yeah. Well, somewhere in this paper, I have a story about.
I'm interested in what the result is, but at the moment, it all just feels like, all that speculation. The day before an election or the night of the election before the result. So that's what it is.
It is, yeah. Although there's no big
what's the point in
televised
talking
thing
about
like
this until we actually know until the results start coming
That's
in.
Well,
very true.
and I think it's been really cool to see the result of this shake-up, but we don't know what.
I got to the point now where
Absolutely.
I just want to know
Go.
what the outcome is.
Yes.
Do you think? Does anyone have Jeremy Corbyn's number, or anyone in the Labour Party team? Because we could always give them a call and see if we could work this out.
Afraid not.
Not.
Not on
I'd have
me
to
anyway,
check.
I
Yeah.
could Google.
Yeah.
118 118. I'm looking for Jeremy Corbyn, please.
Andy Burnham won't return my calls, but that's for a very different issue.
Yeah, well,
That's what happens when you get in a fight in a restaurant about the
well,
price of an uncooked burger. But,
yes, you really need to stop getting in fights when you go out on dates in restaurants.
Yeah, it is an
Simple as
issue.
that. Yeah.
So yeah, politics.
So other than
is
dating Andy
happening.
Burnham, what else are you up to?
Is that libel?
I don't know. I think is it? Yeah, probably. It might well be.
Let's move on quickly then.
Okay.
Nobody said anything about dating him. He was just in the restaurant at the time.
Yeah, I could have been on a date with someone else, and Andy Burnham was just there, and we got in a fight. Despite the fact that this is all entirely false, but
So
that's never stopped us before.
So the headline in the Daily Mail tomorrow: Andy Burnham fights podcast presenter over burger.
Yes, is entirely true.
Burnham smash.
Oh, that would be
Just
funny.
randomly inventing tabloid headlines
Yes.
now.
So, yeah, if Corbyn doesn't win, which is also entirely possible because democracy, it looks like Yvette Cooper is going to take the leadership spot. In the polls, it depends which poll you ask, obviously.
As always.
Because, as was the case in our general election, and as is the case now, the polls are wildly different. But it looks in pretty much all of them, she's got the second highest amount of votes. It's just the gap between her and Corbyn tends to change. So it seems to be the case that we'll get Yvette Cooper if we don't get Jeremy Corbyn as Labour leader. And in terms of deputies, because they've also been voting on that, Harriet Harman is not going to be the deputy under the new leader necessarily. It's going to be, according to a poll in the Metro, it's going to be Caroline Flint with 39% of that particular vote. But again, no guarantees. Polls are always, very wrong.
polls are always very wrong. That's
Yeah.
your...
Well, given the record they had at the general election, that's the conclusion that we've come to. But
Fair enough.
Actually, the whole Tumble Fumble's been pretty rocky this week.
oh well.
Yeah, as far as amusing hashtags today, nothing's exactly found my funny bone. The only thing that really sort of got me giggling earlier this week was Sherlock as Disney.
Sherlock as Disney.
Yeah, on Twitter rather than Tumblr. But yeah. So essentially, clips from Sherlock compared to stills from Disney. It does what it says on the tin.
Any particularly good ones?
Yeah, I mean, seeing one there of The Lion King.
So this is at Sher as Disney on Twitter. We think. So we've got some Peter Pan going on. We've got that appears to be. Is that Goofy there? There's Disney characters like there's Dory from Finding Nemo next to a
Next
face
to
that looks pretty
Moriarty.
much exactly like
Moriarty.
the one Dory's doing. But
Dory
yeah,
face.
Moriarty is doing that.
One
so-
of my favourites is John Watson compared with Sebastian the Crab from
That's always a good one.
from The Little Mermaid. I'm not sure how far back you'd have to go to find that one. I think it was
There we go.
It was 5 days
There we
ago.
go. Yeah, found it.
That is
Retweeting it.
brilliant.
So that's one of my
Yes.
favourites. I think it's the red shirt that makes it there. John's lovely red shirt. Sebastian the Crab is one of my favourite characters ever.
Who's
Okay.
Sebastian the Crab?
He's this little guy. I'm just going to show you a picture on my phone.
Oh,
He's a teeny
where's-
tiny crab.
from...
He's in The Little Mermaid.
Oh, I've never seen it.
You're missing out.
Apparently.
Yeah. So I mean that's about all I got.
So, red crabs.
Yeah, red crabs.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, pretty much crabs. That's all you're getting this week.
You've got crabs
Yeah, after a fumble.
after a fumble. Okay.
Happens
So that's
to the
this
best
week's
of us.
Tumble Fumble, and once again getting dangerously
Another-
close to losing our
another-
clean iTunes
Another
rating.
headline for the for the what was it for the Mail Online
Yeah.
sidebar
Yes.
of shame.
Presenter gets crabs after a fumble.
Yes.
Let's not go there.
33% of podcast presenters get crabs.
Yes.
Or at
Apparently
least
so.
33% of the presenters of this podcast.
Can we stop saying crabs? It's just
Yeah.
I'm going to have to play
I'm
a
just
song
going to
about crabs
randomly
soon now.
say the
Oh,
word
God.
crabs throughout the rest of the podcast.
So interestingly,
great.
we're talking about which came first, the song Breakfast in America with the line, can we have kippers for breakfast, mummy dear, or the phrase smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for breakfast from
got
Red
there in the
Dwarf.
end.
Now, the song Breakfast in America by Supertramp was released in 1979. The character Ace Rimmer from Red Dwarf was first seen on our screens in 1991.
Well,
So
there we go.
I'm afraid it was Supertramp that came first,
Yeah.
and
I wonder
Super
if
Rimmer that came after.
Supertramp inspired.
Inspired Ace Rimmer.
May well have
Yes.
done. And Red Dwarf
Impossible.
is filming new series as well.
Yeah, I got an
Yes.
email today saying I could go in the ballot for tickets to go see it be filmed.
I'm assuming
That's
you said
exciting.
yes.
I haven't really been at my laptop, but I might.
Do it now.
Do it. Go.
Do it. Do it.
Over
Do
there.
it.
Go.
Do it.
Do it.
Ah, okay. Next time I... Yeah. Okay.
That does have to happen.
But it did actually win an international Emmy back in 1994 from
right,
one of my
too.
favourite episodes too.
Which one was that?
Gunman of the Apocalypse.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was a really good one. It had its own little custom soundtrack as well. I love that. But yeah, it started in 1988, ran to 1993, then took a bit of a break, then was back 1997 to 99, then took a long break. Dave did its little special in 2009 and then in 2012.
Brought it back a
They
bit
picked
more
it up to
properly.
series.
Yeah, and now there are two more series that will be
Yes.
exclusively on Dave. Dave, for those people not in the UK, is a TV channel. We have a channel here called Dave.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
after
naming-
Dave Lister, I believe.
Yes. So
the idea of naming it that, it literally says on their website, because everyone knows a Dave,
everyone knows a Dave.
apparently.
Yep.
So
It was originally based on a Radio 4 television. Radio 4.
Radio 4 television.
Radio 4
Do you wanna-
radio play as well before it was televised as well. So it's quite interesting. And that came out in 1974. Wow. Back
So
in
was that
the-
before or after Supertramp? Remind me.
That would then be
Supertramp.
before Supertramp.
Yeah, Supertramp was 1979.
Ah, well.
But the Ace Rimmer character
Ace Rimmer wasn't. but yeah.
until 1991.
So
I mean,
it's
Red
up-
Dwarf started in 88.
Yeah.
But
So I suppose it's up to you to decide who came up with the Kipper idea first.
yes,
It's a Kipper conundrum.
it's a kipper caper.
Indeed.
A kipper caper.
Right. What's next?
Caper. Kipper caper.
Moving on.
I was going to find a
Before I
song
say
about
stoke me
crabs,
a
so you,
snipper.
you keep talking for a second.
This is actually happening, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
If we say something on air
Oh,
that's
although
potentially incriminating, we get a song.
speaking about Sebastian the Crab, you have reminded me that in The Little Mermaid, Sebastian the Crab is nearly cooked by a chef,
Ah.
and the chef sings a little song, and the chef is voiced by René Auberjonois of Star Trek Deep Space Nine fame.
Odo.
Yeah. I didn't realise this until much, much later in my life. And then watching it back, it's quite special.
Yeah.
There you go.
Have
Okay.
you found the crab
Little true
song
fact
yet?
for you.
I found the crab song.
Okay.
I've got a big bag of crabs here. I gotta put them in my mouth.
why
Oh,
wouldn't you?
yes. I'm gonna run around the town on a market day.
This is brilliant, isn't it?
Look at me and say I've got a mouthful of crabs.
Yep. What? What are you looking at me like that for?
Did you just search for songs about crabs? Or did
No,
you
I
know
this song was in my head when you started saying it. Wait for it. And then it just repeats.
Yeah.
There's a brilliant animation by Weeble many years ago. But yeah, it just kind of popped into my head when you start talking about crabs. So there you go,
Happens.
crab-related songs.
Happens to the best of us.
Uh-huh.
Hashtag crab songs.
And Amy has tweeted us as saying 33% of Geekly co-presenters have a meeting with this guy, and it's a picture
Mr.
of
Krabs.
Mr. Krabs from, I believe, SpongeBob SquarePants.
You would be correct in this
There
Would be
belief.
my
there
guess
we go.
also.
Yes.
There we go. Good stuff. I was actually so bored recently, I was tempted to go and watch the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. I didn't in the end, but, you know, it almost
Probably
happened.
for the best.
Yeah. So as a reminder to all of you, we've got the bad song of the week.
That is a thing we do.
This week that we are doing. And yours is nowhere near as bad as mine,
Well,
in my humble opinion.
your humble opinion it may be, but according to the vote at the moment, that seems to be our listeners' opinion as well.
Oh, have I got more votes?
You've got
Am I
twice the
seeing
number of
twice
votes
the
I
number
do.
of votes?
Wow.
Wow.
So as a reminder, Chris, your bad song of the week this week is...
We're going to Ibiza. Back to the island.
It's quite a lovely song.
If you insist.
And my bad song of the week this week.
Are you one of the boring people?
Who don't want to be beautiful?
Because everyone can be beautiful.
When you're made of plastic.
We are the plastics, living a life that's now elastic. We are fantastic. If you wanna be us, let our dogs work their magic.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm wondering just how
Because
elastic
you did the
they
dance.
I don't know. Are they like Stretch Armstrongs?
Well, they said, you know, they are the plastics living a life that is now elastic, which is kind of a misunderstanding of how plastic works, surely.
yes, plastic
Plastic
isn't
being not elastic.
not elastic. Yeah,
Plastic, in fact, being the opposite of elastic.
I think maybe they were recording that single instead of doing high school science
I think, you know.
or any
They-
kind of
they-
education.
They were just looking for words that rhymed with plastic, which is fair enough, because, you know, if you're going to release a terrible song about plastic, at least you make it rhyme.
I'll point out that this song was actually picked up by a record company and released by a record company.
Yeah, but so was Rebecca Black.
And
That's
so was
not
the Pizza
that's
Kids
not
song
an
from the first
indicator
show
of
of the
quality.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so continue to vote on Bad Song of the Week. It's gkly.co/bad. You can also get in the chat room, gkly.co/chat. And
We're great with these verbs.
Yeah.
One-syllable verbs.
After another song, we're going to be talking a bit about old technology. And if you want to get into the spirit, you can actually put the Geekly Chronicles website into 90s mode.
Yes, you can.
Is it just 90s?
90s.gkly.co, and you'll see the website in full 90s mode.
Is there a scrolling marquee?
It's got a grey background. It's got a
Nice.
scrolling marquee.
Nice.
Everything's in Times New Roman. The links are all blue and underlined.
And
It's
it will
fantastic.
definitely work in Internet Explorer
It's
6.
beautiful.
We hope it'll work in Internet Explorer 6.
Well, I've got my IE6 laptop down there. We can fire it up.
That would be fun.
Yep.
I really hope it does work in Internet Explorer 6 because I put a little badge at the bottom that says
It does.
recommended for Internet Explorer and Netscape Navigator. We have a caramel apple crumble update from Jake
Jake,
in the chat
can
room.
you do the...
No.
Do you not even want to try?
No.
Okay.
We're going to need some strepsils.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay.
The bass is still wibbly wobbly, apparently.
As long as it's not the other thing.
The bass is wibbly wobbly. If it's timey-wimey, then you want to be worried.
Yes, that's usually problematic when your crumble turns out timey-wimey. But yes, it's on the way. It's happening.
Yes.
And
The crumble will taste great in 1923.
yes. I see.
The higher, the fewer.
I was
Yes.
just about to say that.
And
Live
And-
long and boogie.
in a desperate attempt to continue saying words before we fall off air, Misty M agrees that the Nick Clegg apology song, as I'm going to call it, is quite catchy.
There is a much catchier, kind of political auto-tune that we can't play without losing our iTunes explicit rating. Oh, hang on a second. We edit out the songs before it gets to the podcast, doesn't it?
That's a fair point.
That is a fair point. We can swear all we like on this as long as we edit it out. So we'll let you vote in the chat room. There's a very, very good song, but it has the F word in it. So if you're happy with hearing the F word live on the show for a very funny auto-tune song, then please let us know. If you don't want to hear the F word, and I'm not talking about falafel,
or fumble.
or fumble, or fudge, or food, then I'm running out of F words. Then let us know, and we'll try and do that. Prize 6 says, "Can I get a woo, please? As my favourite game finally had boats."
Right.
Woo.
Yay. Hooray for that.
Was that a sentence I should understand?
Well,
It's
I
not a
think
sentence
there's
any
a
of us
game that they
understood.
like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got boats now.
Great.
Yeah, I don't. That's not really helping, but okay.
So, like,
Yay for
imagine a
boats.
sandwich
Good
you
for them.
like, and it's got pickles now.
Oh, okay.
Woo.
Yeah,
that would be good if
that'd
I
be a
like
woo
pickles.
occasion.
Yeah,
In that sandwich.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this is a positive on the boats.
Yeah. Indeed, congratulations on getting pickles in your game. Yay, pickles!
Amy C in the chat room says, is the word in the song a word beginning with F and ending in uck?
Fire truck.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. That's the one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're not allowed to say that on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also saying play it, as are a few others. So,
Yes, can I have one is saying, do it, play it.
yes,
But one of what?
Mainly
that is the question.
so that we stop talking.
Yeah, I've never understood what this is one of. Can I have one? Like, can I have a witness? I don't know.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So old stuff. Stuff that is so...
That's a rude way to talk about Catherine, but
Wow.
it's...
Did you hear what he just said about you?
We stuff.
No.
I'm
a
sorry, you're
person.
clearly things.
You're the grumpy old woman.
That is a fair point. That is a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old stuff.
So stuff that is now so old and uncool that it has become cool again.
Kind of like our website.
And also kind of like the Microsoft Zune.
Will that ever become cool again?
Yeah, so it was never cool in the first place, right? But I
Yeah.
bought one, being uncool. And I took it out recently. and
What, to go see, like,
I took it
the
out.
sights?
Yeah.
Took it out to dinner or...
Yeah, we went to Georgia and California and any place we could run. Took the hand of a preacher man and
Yeah.
made love in the sun. But yeah, took it out just on the train, on my way into London, and people were exclaiming, "Oh wow, that's so retro! It's really cool."
What trains do you get on?
Trains into London full of hipsters.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've got that train before and nobody talks to each other.
Yeah,
It's probably because I get it once all the hipsters have arrived at their jobs.
yeah.
I say jobs, the coffee shops they work in.
So-
I say coffee shops, kind of like artisanal, organic, wholemeal kale coffee
In a tree.
in a tree. Yes.
Yeah.
I say tree. I'll stop.
Please. So yeah. Yeah.
So what is a Microsoft Zune?
So it was basically Microsoft's answer to the iPod. So Apple released the iPod and Microsoft
okay.
released the Zune. And it was a portable music player. And it was part of Microsoft's strategy to kind of focus on consumers, right, and become cool again. And it was actually a really nice device. It was just, it didn't have the services to back it up and it got a bit of a bad rep, much
Yeah.
like most stuff that Microsoft made in the Windows Vista era.
It's not.
Oh, I'm seeing
It's not a
pictures of
bad
it. It
device. You know, pretty good design.
all
Yeah,
right.
brown, perfect color.
So I had the black and silver one, and that was really nice. And I had the one that had the
Who
touchpad on
designs
it.
a gadget and thinks, you know what, this needs a brown version?
Everyone in the 70s.
Apparently, so.
Therefore, everyone at Microsoft in the 2000s.
Although I suppose
Yes.
it does go along with my philosophy that the best and worst things in life are brown.
Ah,
True.
Bourbon biscuits.
Awesome.
Tea.
Marmite,
Marmite.
all awesome.
Poo.
Less awesome.
Yeah, less awesome.
Yes, but you said the best and worst things in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there we go.
Like
yeah.
cat sick. That's pretty
That's-
rubbish.
It's quite brown. And
Kinda
cat
brown.
poo.
Yeah.
Cat diarrhea.
Generally,
Ugh.
things that come out of a cat are usually brown.
Love.
Is that brown?
I don't know.
If love had a colour, what colour would it be? This is a good question.
Purple. Because it's my favourite colour.
It could be brown because then it's either the best or the worst things in life.
That's if you accept my philosophy.
If we accept Catherine's philosophy.
I'll never accept your philosophy.
KFC gravy is brown.
Okay,
That's a
now I
fair
accept
point.
your philosophy.
You're onto something there.
Yeah, so my Zune was very well received, but then I also took an 80s Walkman on the bus, not on the bus, sorry, on the train a little while ago. I was going back to that era where I used to take the bus to places.
Is this the Walkman like the Walkman in the film in
Back to
Help
the
me
Future.
out. Yeah, that's the one.
Yes, so I have the exact same Sanyo red Walkman that Martin McFly has in Back to the Future. So we're talking a proper 1985 vintage Walkman here. And I had that on the bus the other day. I was listening to Now 1995, which I happen to have on tape, which incidentally
Of course.
has some songs on it by Desiree. And Desiree, of course, was one of your bad songs of the week a couple of weeks ago.
Indeed.
So I was there rocking out to what you would consider bad music on my Walkman, and people genuinely did come up to me and say, "Is that a Walkman?" I think people think that old stuff is cool again now.
I think it's just people don't expect anyone to have kept it.
So I have over 100 different gadgets and laptops and phones and things from 2003 down. And I love that stuff. I absolutely love keeping it in working order and taking it out into unexpected places. So I've been getting a particular laptop ready to be able to go and sit in Starbucks, because so many
course.
people sit in Starbucks with their MacBooks, myself included sometimes, and
Hipster.
sit and be hipsters. I want to be a hipster 90s style. So I've got a
That's
Dell
after it was cool,
Latitude X.
You know it's good when it has an X in the name.
Yep. Now, this is a Pentium 2 laptop. It runs at
Whoa.
400 megahertz.
Such
Amazing.
speeds.
It's got 128 megs of RAM in it. No network connection, but it's okay because I've got a PCMCIA card that does LAN. No Wi-Fi. Excuse me.
How are you going to work in Starbucks?
Yeah, this is a good point.
You know, the thing that people have forgotten, you can actually do work offline.
Okay.
And
I haven't
actually,
been
I find
able
that
to
if
do
I'm
work
writing
offline since
something, I get more
2008.
work done if I
Less
turn the internet
distraction.
off. So I've got Windows 2000 installed on this thing. The laptop itself came out in 1997. I've got Windows 2000 installed on this thing. I've got Office 2000 installed on this thing. Clippy and me, we're besties again. It's great. And I'm going to go and I'm going to sit in Starbucks and work on this thing. Because I'm cool.
Are you going to work on this laptop, or are you going to do what I did? Because my primary school had a Windows 2000 machine. Are you going to do what I did when told to work, which is just sit there and then make Clippy do all of the animations over and over again for a solid hour?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because that's how I spent my childhood.
Does this mean you can play Minesweeper?
It's got Minesweeper on
Oh,
it.
fantastic.
my
It's got
goodness.
original solitaire. But yeah, it's fantastic. And the great thing about this particular laptop is there's kind of got two bays at the front, and one of them had a battery in and one of them had a CD drive in. But you could take the CD drive out and put another battery in if you don't need to use CDs to get extra battery life out of the thing. Modular laptops.
Does that make it really heavy?
This is a laptop
Yeah.
made in 1997.
So it's made
If you
almost entirely of
actually
lead.
use it on your lap, you will never ever be able to use your lap again
That is very true.
for anything.
It has the power of 1,000 cats.
Misty suggests, does it have
Well,
3D?
the only other thing I'd want to use my lap for is to have a cat sleep on it.
Yes, you were being remarkably not lewd for once.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Misty asks,
What?
does it have 3D Space Cadet Pinball on it?
It does have 3D Space to get at pinball
Brilliant,
on
because
it.
I missed that game. I
Yeah.
loved 3D Space Cadet Pinball.
Well, you can fire up the laptop and
I think we might have to.
give it a go. Yeah.
We've also got a Crumble update from Jake.
Okay, let's have a look at
Again.
this, Jake. What's
Is
Oh,
letting
wow.
it cool now.
This
It's-
week has
it's
definitely been
finished.
more of a crumble fumble than a
Ah.
tumble
I see what you did
it's
there.
Jake and the Crumble Fumble.
Indeed. Does look quite nice.
We should actually have Jake on the show to give us a Crumble Fumble update.
Yes, we should.
We
If
do have snazzy phone numbers that people can call and everything.
We do. Do you want me to read them out again?
Go for it.
Why not? Jake, if you're listening, please give us a ring. 0203 389 6245 if you're in the UK. Or, I should really remember this, or 415 287 9705 if you're in the US. Give us a ring. Tell us how the crumble turned out.
I like Crumble, but it's got to have custard.
Does give us a ring translate outside the UK?
Phone us.
Phone
Telephone
us.
us. Call
Yes.
us on the telephone.
Give us a bell.
Hey, we just met you.
And this is crazy.
But here's our number.
Call us maybe.
There we go.
Flawlessly executed as ever. So, yeah, do give us a ring. Or if you happen to be baking your own crumble and are not Jake, then also let us know how that's turning out. Amy's tweeted some retro tech. It's a yellow Game Boy Color with all the
it's
Pokemon,
the Pokemon
branding.
edition.
Yes,
Yeah.
running Pokemon indeed. I'm just trying to zoom in, have a look at that wonderful screen. But yeah, that's a wonderful piece of technology. Reminds me of that time you made me play Pokemon on the show.
I was just going to say, do
I-
you remember playing Pokemon?
I still don't understand it.
Well, I think your description of it was apt. It was basically making animals fight to the death while you watch.
Pretty much. Except they can't fight to the death because that would upset the children.
So they faint.
And then you have to take them to be revived so that children don't get upset that they killed their animal. The children should learn Pokemon have consequences.
You look bemused,
I
Catherine.
am bemused. This
Well-
is a world I do not move in.
Catch them all. Got to catch them all. Got to catch them all.
Yeah, apparently.
Pokemon.
That's
Penman
also
in the
true.
chat room says progress, which I'm assuming refers
Goes
to the
to-
fact that we like Taylor Swift, not the fact that the crumble's being eaten, although I think it does apply to both.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah.
And Jake has also promised to phone in after eating it to tell us all how it turned out. So that's going to be
That's
gonna
never
be
a bad
fun.
thing. Never a bad thing.
How
How are we doing on the bad song of the week?
Let's find out. The vote has not moved.
Oh no, it's still
We're still
The
double for me
ratios are
right now.
still-
yes.
So, I mean, it's interesting. So we've been doing bad song of the week. For this is our 9th
Yes.
now, as we're now 9 episodes into this series. And how many have I won versus you?
You have won 5 so far, and I have won the other 3.
Interesting.
You just have a talent for finding really, really terrible music.
I
It would
do.
appear. I mean,
I
you
do.
know,
It's mostly stuff that I actually quite like, but
Yeah.
I'd never admit it. You don't look at me
yeah,
like that.
sounds
I don't
about-
like this
sounds
one.
about right. Sounds.
Actually, you keep picking bad songs that I quite like.
I know.
Like the Desiree song. That was brilliant. I quite like this song.
Yeah.
We're going to Ibiza.
So much so that you insist on dancing to it while you play it, which is disturbing given that you know the actual dance. But
Gonna
yeah.
have a party.
And all the
Wow,
lyrics.
wow, 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 whoa. In the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah.
We're going to
Eat pizza. Pepperoni. That's what we used to sing when I was at school.
You were creative.
I sang,
You-
yeah. I didn't have many friends. Or it's the Plastics.
Are you one of the boring people?
Yes, I am one of the boring people.
apparently, because
Uh-huh.
I don't want to mold my face to look like my favorite celebrity.
Uh-huh.
We are the plastics, living a life that's now elastic. We are fantastic. If you wanna be us, let our dogs work their magic.
Yeah.
I see.
So, that is a terrible song. Please vote for it, because it's awful.
Please vote for me. I have no votes. I have no votes and we're on show 9 and I've only won 3. I can't win the series by this point. We can just turn out even if we finish at episode 10.
That is true. Misty says, #team boring.
I like that.
But what would team boring stand for?
Not
Being
plastic
in
face
team
manipulation.
boring, that's not plastic.
So
So it would be team boring versus team
that's-
plastic.
It's team boring. It's a bored noise.
We
isn't
need
it?
#team boring on
Hashtag
our
team boring.
Geekly t-shirts.
That's what I was thinking. It kind of reminded me a bit of the movie Inside Out that we've all now been to see. And I think my
have.
favourite character in that was Sadness.
Yes.
Sadness is
Sadness
just such
was
a great
fantastic
character.
If nothing else, for the quote, crying lets me slow down and obsess over the weight of life's problems.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favourite quotes ever,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. Absolutely loved that.
So,
Well, you
Yes,
liked the
it was
bit
a
at the
very
end
good
with
film.
the cat.
Yeah. Although I don't want to spoil that for anyone.
No, but
No.
the bit at the end is good.
yes, it's a very good film. I would, in fact, say the best Pixar film in quite some time. So,
And Jake
yeah, go
says
see
there was
it.
far too much cream on the second plate. And looking at a picture of the second plate, which does indeed look like a plate that is older than a Microsoft Zune. It's very 70s style. I quite like it. But yes, there is more
the same
cream.
attractive brown around the edge.
Yes, I'm assuming that's stylish and not just poo.
We hope so.
Yeah, but the cream actually outnumbers the crumble.
Yeah, I think that's probably the wrong ratio.
Yeah,
Possibly.
it's a 2-to-1 cream to crumble ratio on this plate. It's probably a bit much.
But yeah, we look forward to hearing about how it turned out.
We do look forward to hearing about how it turned out, and
if
it's not
nothing else, because it gives us content for the last half hour of the programme.
Yeah, not in any way because we're hungry or anything either.
Yeah.
Alison says, I want a BBC Micro to play Defender on. Well, I have 3 of them in my garage.
Well, also there's been news that the BBC have recently released, I can't remember what it's called, something like the Micro Bit, which is micro style, but in a Raspberry Pi kind of form factor.
And that's quite cool.
So I'm going to Google it now to see if it still exists or I just had a wonderful dream. But
So there used to be a radio show on BBC Radio 4 called The Chip Shop. which was very aptly named. It was back when the BBC Micro was first out, and there were ways that you could plug your BBC Micro into phone lines and get things, but this was because back in the day of BBC Micro, you could get a tape deck for your computer, and the tape would have the program on it. You know, you have a program on a tape, and if you'd listen to it, it would sound all bloop and bleepy. And you could, at the end of this program, the chip shop that was all about technology, every week they had a different application for the BBC Micro. And so in the 3 minutes leading up to the news, you hit record on your tape recorder and you would record a program because they would be broadcasting it over the radio.
That is brilliant.
And then you could put it in your BBC Micro. We should do that for anyone that's still got the ability to
plug that.
to
micro
plug
into,
a tape. Yeah.
If you can plug your tape recorder into our website, essentially, I would be very impressed. But yeah, we should try that. We should find a micro program and
Yeah, that would be very cool.
broadcast it. I'm
I
not
just
sure how
actually
we do
that
it.
was brilliant, and the BBC website has now got a full archive, the Tomorrow's World archive. That's got a lot of great old stuff. They have a full archive of the chip shop shows.
Oh, fantastic!
So you can go and you can listen to it, and you could, if you still had a BBC Micro like I do, record all of
the
the
programs.
original chip shop programs to tape still
Yes.
now, and play them on a BBC Micro.
Yes,
So you see, old stuff is cool again.
I found the BBC micro bit.
Oh.
It does exist. I wasn't having a wonderful dream. It is real, but it appears to be all futuristic-y and modern. So it's about the size of a Raspberry Pi, or a credit card. If you think I'm talking rubbish
Okay.
when I say Raspberry Pi, and it's got inputs and buttons and sensors, but I don't think you can program it in BBC Basic.
Well,
which
that's
is,
a shame.
Which is a shame.
BBC Basic was the first programming language, if you can call it that I ever learned.
It is a wonderful, wonderful language. I remember I went to the Gadget Show live one year, and the National Museum of Computing had a stand with a BBC Micro, and they'd set it up so you could program it, and that was a lot of fun to do.
By contrast, I remember
The
having a BBC Micro.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm not necessarily that old, but so a place that my mum worked at had a load of BBC Micros, so I used to quite enjoy going in there and playing with those. And when they closed down and got rid of all of their BBC Micros, I managed to nab a few, which was quite good. Amy has tweeted about the BBC Micro bit.
Micro bit, yeah, there it is. Yeah, it appears.
It's
she
got
to see it at
antennas
the-
and USB. That is definitely not a BBC
That's
Micro.
not a BBC Micro. It's got stuff. It can do things. It's got a compass, an accelerometer.
You know, the
Bluetooth.
original BBC Micro did not have a compass or an accelerometer.
No.
It could just about work it out when it hit the ground if you'd thrown it out of a window.
Yes. And well, you say work it out.
It would just
It
stop
would just
working.
stop working.
Yeah.
Like your
Although
program,
those things
like-
were so robust.
That is true. I
Yeah.
don't think technology is made to last the way it was.
Yeah. We're even getting a
anymore.
phone call. Look
Yes.
at that.
Look
Speaking
at
about
that.
technology.
Speaking of technology that is actually working the way it's supposed to.
And
for the
talking about
first time ever.
credit card size computers, that
is
little
actually
alert is
happening.
powered by Raspberry
Through
Pi.
a
as
Raspberry
well.
Pi. It's quite cool. But if I press some buttons on my screen right now, we should now be talking. I would imagine to Jake. So hello.
Do I have to turn this
Yeah,
thing
you
up?
have to turn
Hello
the thing
there.
up. Hello.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the Geekly Chronicles.
Hello.
Hello.
So how was the crumble?
Hello.
I feel a bit sick. I think I've eaten too much.
That's always a risk.
Hello.
You're just going to keep saying hello, aren't
Hello.
you? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
That's going to happen.
So how was the
There's-
crumble?
It's good. The base is spongy and the top is crunchy and the apples are cooked, so that's good.
Getting a very
Excellent.
approving look from Catherine.
Yeah.
Do you like crumble,
Catherine's a
Catherine?
fan.
I really like crumble, especially apple crumble.
Apple crumble.
Anything with
Well,
apples,
this
really.
is caramel apple crumble, so it's even more sweet and
Wow.
bad for your health.
Yeah. That's always good. That's always good in a dessert.
Is it brown?
Some of it is, yeah.
Are they the best bits?
The moldy apples, yeah.
Like Catherine thinks that anything brown is either good or bad, and in this instance, it sounds like it's good.
How good?
Yeah.
How could anything
I
called apple
think it
crumble
is.
be anything but good?
That's a fair point.
If it was made with human remains,
But then it wouldn't be an apple crumble, would it? It would be a human remains crumble.
it could have apples in it.
But then it'd be apple and human remains crumble.
This
That's,
is
that's,
Okay,
that's,
this
that's
is-
my plan for tomorrow.
Yeah.
mm,
So how did you make the crumble, Jake?
With an oven and a recipe and a lot of butter and sugar and flour and apples
excellent.
and a couple of bowls and spoons.
A couple of bowls. Are the bowls adding a bit of extra crunchiness to the crumble?
Yes,
Yeah.
Excellent.
as are the weights I use to weigh out the ingredients.
Yeah.
Got to be careful with
Definitely
those.
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can,
You can really
Gets
break
you-
your
they can lead
teeth
to
on one of
flames,
those.
Yeah.
But, gets you some extra iron content, so I guess it's good for your blood and stuff.
So that was a lot of cream on the second plate, Jake. Can you, from your experience now, what is the best cream to crumble ratio?
Slightly less than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still eating the second. Well, I'm eating it now. It's just
That would explain the odd moments of silence where you're chomping
Yep.
away there on the crumble.
Yes.
So we were talking right at the start of the show about bad fast food experiences. Have you ever had a bad fast food experience?
I don't think so. I mean, I've had Iceland like nibbly bits before, and I attempted to cook mozzarella bites, and they ended up being quite frozen, and it turns out I hadn't turned the oven on.
That would do it.
Yeah,
Generally a good first move.
I suppose on the bright side, uncooked mozzarella is not going to quite give you the same level of projectile diarrhea that uncooked chicken is.
Remember back in the good old days when you said you weren't going to describe it in graphic detail?
I wasn't describing it in graphic detail. I didn't say brown
stop
muck
you now?
plastering the walls or anything like that.
See, the worst things in life.
A brown.
Yeah.
I'm eating.
Very true.
Sorry, but the best things in life are also brown. So please, when you're eating your crumble, think of apples and caramel and not diarrhea.
Okay.
Definitely don't think of diarrhea. Why have you got your head in your hands, Catherine?
I don't know, because I start these things and then people run with them.
Yes. Oh, dear.
Oh. Well,
I will
anyway,
try not
Jake.
to think of diarrhea.
Yes, please don't. Think of that lovely
Think of the
crumble.
It does look very nice.
It does look nice. And thank you very much, Jake, for coming on and telling us about your crumble. So thank you
fine.
for the crumble fumble.
Yes.
And if you'd like to share that recipe, I'd be most happy.
Or just come here and make us a crumble.
Both are entirely acceptable
Please,
options.
please do.
But yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jake.
Right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jake, there.
Yes,
Very good.
that was. Thanks for calling.
And so we've got a couple of new people dropped into the chat room as well. Hi, OB6160 Nobi, I guess.
Sure.
It lifts us up where we belong.
Love is like diarrhea.
No.
No, no. Can we have one segment where we
comes
don't
on
say that
suddenly,
word?
Unexpectedly and painfully.
Yeah,
okay.
It comes
Yeah,
on unexpectedly and
actually.
painfully, and sometimes you end up spraying it all over the wall.
Oh,
I think
dear.
that's just you.
Oh,
this
God.
is why nobody loves me.
This is why we have to edit the show before we publish it.
Yeah. So in crumble update news, Jake feels a little ill, but it was delicious, so worthwhile.
Yep.
And has actually changed their name in the chat room to Jake. So there we go.
My ears don't like that name. Yeah, it makes them go.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
Jake.
No, that's just the noise that my ears make in my
Your
brain.
ears make a noise.
Yeah, that's
That's interesting.
you're weird.
Yeah, but that's not
That's
something
not
we didn't
exactly
already
a
know.
news flash, is it?
Yeah, your ears are like diarrhea.
Oh. Can we? It's nothing
Not
sacred
even a little
anymore. Can we have one thing that isn't like diarrhea? You're like diarrhea.
Yes, I am. Because sometimes once you stop, you just can't
Once
Once
you
you
stop,
start,
yeah.
you just can't stop. OB6160 says we sound like Darth Vader with asthma.
Yeah.
Also, lol. It's the first time I've seen a lol in the chat room for a while.
Indeed.
ROFL.
Jake.
Does the bot need to respond to exclamations of mirth?
I think it probably does.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Jake has sent us a picture of the recipe
Okay.
Ooh.
for the crumble.
What is that at the top of the recipe?
A picture,
Of.
by my best guess.
Of some red things.
It's a picture of what I believe is
kind of brown
caramel.
things. I would go with caramel.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What with it being a
Yes.
caramel apple crumble?
I'm most intrigued.
Yes. Well, we shall have to try that recipe on the show and see how it turns out. Sorry, I've just noticed that Jake has changed his name to Jake in the chat room.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to say without coughing or having diarrhea.
And also confirms that it's caramel at the top of the recipe.
Yes.
So
Sorry, everyone's
Oh,
now
that
coughing.
answers that
I'm
question.
coughing and I haven't even tried to say. the
Go
name.
on. Go on.
Go on.
Hey.
There we
there
go.
we
Woohoo!
Yes.
I feel
Indeed.
kind of wrong.
That's what this show does to you.
Oh, welcome to Geekly.
Yes. We all feel kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Speaking
so-
of feeling kind of wrong, shall we
Yes.
have a check-in on the bad song numbers?
Oh, let's do that.
Why not? Well, we've had some votes,
Oh.
but none of them for the correct answer. At the moment, with 2 more votes, just two, but 2 more than me, we have We Are the Plastics.
We are the plastics, living a life that's now elastic. We are fantastic. If you wanna be us, let our dogs work their magic.
Indeed.
Uh-huh.
Who wouldn't want to be them and let their docs work their magic?
I so
I'm
want
just
to be them.
imagining kind of Dumbledore in a surgical mask waving the elder wand and saying,
that would be good.
Elastico.
Yes.
Elastico
funny.
Fantastico was actually a spell.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Just because it was a PG film, you never saw anybody use it.
Yes.
And the other bad song, of
God.
course, is
We're going to Ibiza. Back to the island.
I don't get what your problem with the song is.
Everything. But at
Really?
the moment, I'm just being amused because Jake has changed his chat name to just...
Okay, right.
So there's that.
Right. Okay. Well, okay. So thanks for that.
Yes. We are going to need some industrial strength strepsils by the end of the program.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to feel like my throat's on fire
Yeah,
a bit now as a
it's-
result of all the hutting.
It's not easy.
No, indeed. Well, we've had another request. Let's get that in. Her second song is actually fairly good, says OB6160. Well, this.
We're going to Ibiza.
Why do you cringe every time I press the button to play that one?
Because it's a terrible, terrible song. It's genuinely painful to listen to. Ow. Why
I have
would you
all
do
the
this?
controls over here.
You have the controls, that is true.
You can take the stream
But
offline.
I can take... Yeah,
So please
I can
don't.
stop this whole thing.
Oh, okay, fine.
I pull one cable out and
hold
it'll
me
all
to
go
ransom.
horribly wrong.
Hold me to ransom, why don't you? We'll be answering questions like, does Freshers Week actually change a person?
That is very true.
One of our lovely presenters is going off to university next weekend, and we'll be seeing whether university
That makes me
changes
any
you.
less of an old woman.
Yes.
Um,
We'll see if
Moving in on Doctor Who Day, no less.
That is
Yes,
true.
moving in
'cause,
on Doctor Who
next
Day.
Saturday, the 19th, is also the start of a new series of Doctor Who.
so we will be talking about that, I'm sure,
Yes.
on Geekly on the 25th.
Absolutely.
As well. Are you excited?
Of course I'm excited.
I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
I'm
I'm
excited.
It
so
may be how I
excited,
make
I may
friends with
vomit.
my new uni people.
I'm so excited.
Of course you are. Speaking of being so excited, shall we
Diarrhea.
get the bad song results? You
Those
just have
ratios
to
have
say it
shifted.
one more time, hadn't,
Yes.
didn't you? Well, the results are in,
Um,
and the winner with, once again, double the vote.
Wow.
that mine got is We Are the Plastics by the Plastics. And I
Wow.
have to say, I agree.
So yeah, your bad song this week was
We're going to Ibiza. Back to the island.
Which I think it's fair to say I would happily listen to for 10 hours if it meant I never had to hear We Are the Plastics again. And I'll say it again, this just might be the worst song we've ever played.
OB6160 says some of it isn't actually even in tune. I don't think any of it was ever in tune. But once again, I was victorious in picking a bad song.
Yes.
So
We're currently ahead 6 points to 3.
yes,
So
6 points to 3.
If we do finish on episode 10 like we said we might, I have now lost the series.
Well, yeah,
But-
that's true. But we will see on the last episode of Series 2 of the Geekly Chronicles exactly who has the worst song of all.
Well, that is true.
All time.
Because, yeah,
As Miss DM says, how are you going to top this?
that is a good question.
Yes, I have to think of something truly awful for next
Yes.
week's show.
Oh, God.
I think it might have to be a mega mix of all of the bad
Well,
songs.
Catherine was saying to me while that was playing that maybe in the last show we should just do the bad song vote for all of the winning bad songs.
And see which
and
one
see
is
which
worse.
One is the worst song
That's
of the
not
series.
a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea.
Still hasn't worked out if winning this competition is a good thing or not.
No, and Amy thought we were friends. We are. I just hate everyone. I don't really.
You hate
I
everyone
love
equally.
I love everyone, but yeah.
But you just hate their ears.
sharing our love of bad
Um,
music. Well, no, I don't hate everyone's ears, just Catherine's, because they keep making weird noises.
Apparently so.
Which we established this week.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this has been the Geekly Chronicles, in which we have
Indeed.
talked about bad takeaways. We've definitely talked about bad songs. We've talked about good things being the colour brown,
Yes.
but also bad things being the colour brown.
Mm-hmm.
We talked quite a lot about Jake's crumble. Thank
Indeed
you
we
very
did.
much, Jake.
The crumble fumble.
The crumble fumble was an excellent addition to the show.
We talked about Sherlock being Disney
We did.
in the tumble fumble, the other fumble, the time Catherine had the crabs.
Yes.
And
Don't roll your eyes, you said it.
you did say it.
I did say it.
We
Yep.
talked a lot about politics, and we made our listeners
Fights
hate us.
in restaurants.
Fights in restaurants.
Fights in restaurants, and we made our listeners hate us at the end of the show, which is always
I think
always
that's
good.
pretty much a standard
That's
ending of a
pretty
show
much
for
what
us,
we
yeah.
go for.
So we will be back on the 25th of September. It'll be the last in the current series of the Geekly Chronicles.
Indeed, it will. And
That
we
doesn't
might,
necessarily mean we'll take a series break, but, you know,
yeah.
our series are 10
A
episodes
brief
long.
hiatus.
A brief hiatus. We may well even come back with some new and exciting features.
Yes,
How
and
exciting.
we may well put together all of our bad songs and see which is
Although
the
not
worst
in a
of the
plastics
series.
way of having new features.
Yes,
No,
not, yes.
That would be bad. But
Don't
yes,
want to have my bum done, as they said
No.
in the song.
because it was painful.
So
But
I hear.
yes, in the week that someone in Australia was arrested when some salt was mistaken for crystal meth, this has been the Geekly Chronicles.
And I think just because so many people have asked for it, we'll end on a high.
Oh, God.
See you next week, everybody. Well, in a fortnight. See you on the 25th of September,
Yes.
everybody.